This is Title 18 Word Crimes. I'm Erik Arneson. For this episode, my wife Beth and I traveled across the country to Long Beach, California for Bouchercon 2014. Bouchercon is the world's largest mystery convention, and it's always great fun. Bouchercon 2013, last year, was held in Albany, New York, so the very temperate climate of Long Beach was a welcome change. At the event, I got to say hello to many of the authors we've featured here on the Word Crimes podcast, including Tom Pitts, Joe Clifford, and Chris Holm. Beth and I had a fantastic time. We are already looking forward to Bouchercon 2015, and that one's going to take place in Raleigh, North Carolina. At Bouchercon, I convinced some great authors to record a live podcast with me during an author focus panel. Seth Harwood, Jess Lourey, and Rob Hart all took part, and I'm thrilled that they did. Our room was packed with friends, so a special shout out to everyone who came down to Harbor Room A and cheered us on. Now, here's the live Title 18 Word Crimes podcast from Bouchercon 2014. Here we are, live at Bouchercon 2014, recording a Word Crimes podcast. First up, Mr. Seth Harwood.
Hello. Happy to be here. Nice to see all of you audience members here today. I'm going to read from something new that I'm doing. This is a Jack Palms novel where Jack Palms gets into the world of bounty hunting and chasing after a mythical pair of... You'll have to listen and find out. Listen, Jack, it's Jack Palms, right? I seen your movies. You're good. Or you were, at least. Now what the fuck are you? Oh, can I swear? Cat's out of the bag. Sorry about the F. I had Modi tied to a chair, and I'd been eating at the desk. Now I moved onto the bed, sitting on its edge in front of the TV set. I'm turning this up now, I said, taking the remote in my hand. Money, Jack. I'm talking money here, however much you want. More than you've got. I just want to get this job done. Listen, he said. No. He leaned forward as far as the bed sheets tied around his arms would let him. You don't get it. I have something invaluable. Shout out to John McGorn, best-selling author of Dead Out. Everyone wants these. It's once in a lifetime. What's that? A pair. The pair. I'm talking about a ghost pair of Jordans that has only been rumored to exist, but they're real. I have them, and I have the proof. The Maltese Jordans? I was only repeating what I'd heard Ted say at the Barracuda, but it made Modi's face light up like a kid at Christmas. Shit, yes! I took another drink. There was a story here, but I wasn't going to rush into it. I put the remote down beside me, volume still on low. Ask me, he said. Ask me what they are. Like the book? Hammett? Yes, just like the book. But that's only the tagline I came up with, because of Hammett and all that. He smiled wide. Rara shuvis numero primo. You know? Really. But these are real. Saudi Arabian money. I wasn't sure if he was calling me money, like Mars Blackman did in the commercials, or if he meant the ability of Saudis to find an insane sneaker collector's wet dream of an enterprise. Like something His Airness wore in a dunk contest? Modi laughed. Not even close. An all-star appearance? A finals game? I was starting to bite. My basketball fandom and its subsequent curiosity was getting the better of me. Not those either. What do you think would be the most exquisite pair of Jordans out there? Signed, game-worn, whatever. Imagine the most far-out thing you can dream up, and then multiply that by 10. What? He raised his shoulders toward his ears, waiting. Now he was enjoying himself. I could tell. Guess. This is part of the fun. The 63-point game against the Celtics in his first playoffs? The one when Larry Bird called him God? No. Bird said it was God disguised as Michael Jordan. Let's not misquote Bird here. That's it.
All right. All the way from beautiful Minnesota, here's Jess Lourey.
I'm going to read from the Toad House trilogy, which is my young adult series. It features two kids who don't realize they're living in the book Tom Sawyer, and then they get attacked by Byblos, this figure who they don't know who he is yet, and he chases them, he murders their grandmother and chases them into other books, and then he chases them across classic literature. And that's what I'm going to read from. Oh, and he's just discovered them, and they've discovered him. 40 feet away, the boulder flies through the air and slams into the sycamore tree. Ani had hit it in earlier today, destroying it. She is so scared she can't swallow, trapped between the monster and the clearing and a world she hadn't known existed. She wishes powerfully, hopelessly, for her grandmother to be by her side. I don't know what you're talking about, she says, her mouth dry. But if we're going somewhere, we're taking Tom with. Gilgamesh looks to the trees for quick counsel before swiveling toward the toad house. His movements are terse and angry. Fine, I can set his archetyper. If we return him to this book before his words run out, we might still save the story and him. But I swear you don't know what you're doing. Drag him in while I get the toad house running, or we're all dead. Gilgamesh dashes into the tiny structure and disappears from Ani's line of sight. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees a tiny Spencer rousing inside the toad house. He sits up and reaches around frantically. His voice, squeaky and terrified, escapes the small structure. Ani? Out here, she says. You're safe, Spence, in a house. Don't step outside of it no matter what. I'm going to hand Tom to you and you pull him in. Ani smells the smoke. She catches an unnatural flash of silver and blue at the edge of their protection. She hears the triumphant roar of the monster. He's found us. The monster that killed Glory has found us. Fear turns her stomach to jelly, but it also makes her strong. She releases Tom's arms and instead sweeps him up, even though he is 3/4 her size. She throws him at the toad house door. Her aim is true, and he flies through it, shrinking, shoving her brother to the floor on the other side. Ani falls on all fours from the effort. If she can crawl forward a few feet, she'll be on the threshold of the toad house. Gilgamesh is yelling at her to hurry. Sweet Black Annis, just hurry! And then the forest goes dead quiet. The hair on the back of Ani's neck spikes. She smells this sweet, rotten breath, and it makes her flesh crawl. Oh, dear God, he's behind me. He could reach out and touch me right now. She doesn't want to turn, would give everything she owns not to face what's behind her, to never have to lay eyes on the horrible thing that has slaughtered her grandmother. Inside the toad house, Tom shrieks, a tiny tortured rabbit cry of pure fear. He is looking through the doorway at the beast directly behind her. She has no chance. She can't escape. So she turns, and she finally understands what drove the blood from Glory's face when she first laid eyes on the monster. 2 minutes.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we've got 2 readers left. Mr. McGorian, will you choose one at random? All right. Erik Arneson is here. I liked the randomness because it made it impossible for me to start getting nervous too early. I have some stuff in the back, by the way, copies of a comic book that my friend Dylan Samuelson and I did called Fortune, and copies of a short story called All Alone, which is set in 1951 Philadelphia, mayoral politics. It's when the Democrats beat the Republicans, a very dark time in city history. All right. Okay, this is, I'm not reading from either of those, though. This is from a work in progress called Muldoon, Chapter 1. Muldoon lifted his head from the dirt and the dust on the floor and stared at the drink. He was thirsty, but too sad and too lonely to stick his tongue into the refreshing elixir. The memory that haunted him, being lifted away from his parents and kidnapped 3 weeks ago, was as clear as the water in his bowl. "What's wrong, little kitten?" said the voice. He hated being called little kitten. His name was Muldoon, for crying out loud. A good name, a strong name. He felt anger rising. But when the hand connected to the voice stroked the striped orange fur on his back, he couldn't sustain the anger no matter how much he tried. The hand was soft, gentle. It knew what it was doing. Against his will, Muldoon heard himself begin to purr. "See, it's not that bad, little kitten." As the hand continued its expert caresses, Muldoon knew that the voice connected to the hand was right. It wasn't that bad. It was worse. All he wanted was to be back in the cardboard box, kneading his mother's stomach and drinking milk. But Muldoon felt himself plop onto the floor and roll onto his back. His paws swayed in the air while the hand continued to rub him. His purrs grew louder. Humiliating. All right, now we skip ahead in the story a little bit. Muldoon has escaped from these terrible kidnappers, and he's out on the city streets on a search for his parents. Muldoon stood at the street corner looking back and forth. He had no idea which way to go. He saw more people to the left than the right, and in his experience, cats lived with people, so he went left. Slinking down the sidewalk with his body pressed against brick buildings, Muldoon took in the sights. People walking, people running, one person riding on a motorized chair. Cars zoomed past. Buildings stretched to the sky, with most windows dark, but some illuminated, and bright signals changed from green to yellow to red, and back to green. Crossing a small street, Muldoon heard a sound from the dark. Psst. He stopped and cocked his head to the side to listen better. Again, psst. Who is that? Muldoon asked. Where are you? Psst. Muldoon moved toward the sound, caution overtaken by curiosity. Entering the alley's shadows, he carefully avoided the broken glass scattered across the pavement. He saw a small beast emerge from behind a pile of garbage bags. The four-legged creature was covered in dark gray hair, had a long, hairless tail, and spoke with a deliberate cadence. "Hello, little kitten," it said. Muldoon bristled at being called little kitten. "My name is Muldoon," he said, trying to sound tough. "Your name is Dinner," the beast whispered, with just a hint of a grin. Muldoon's hair stood on end. "Dinner? That's ridiculous," he said, hoping he sounded braver than he felt. "Dinner's a meal, not a name. What kind of beast are you anyway?" It grinned wider, showing its sharp, filthy teeth. "A rat," it said. "A hungry, hungry rat." Muldoon's stomach twisted. "What do rats like to eat?" The rat's grin transformed into a snarl. A thick string of saliva dropped from his mouth to the cracked pavement, and his voice grew louder. "What do rats eat? Let's show the little kitten what rats eat, boys." And that's it. Thank you. And closing us out today on the Word Crimes podcast from beautiful New York City, Rob Hart.
Bring it on home, Rob. Bring it home.
All right, so my first book is New Yorked. It's coming out in June. This is from the follow-up, City of Rose, which I'm in the middle of editing. The trunk comes up, and first I think I'm hallucinating, that the guy pointing a gun at my face is not wearing a grotesque, poorly painted chicken mask. But he is, red and yellow and white with dead black eyes. The man in the mask is wearing a charcoal gray suit. I can't see anything but the tan skin of his hands, one of which is holding tight to a small silver revolver. He grabs me and hauls me out of the car, strong for his size, and says, "On your knees." I get down on the asphalt, and we're behind a warehouse. The sun is just beginning to lick at the bottom of the sky, but it's overcast, so it's cycling shades of gray. It's raining now, too, just light enough to be pleasant, that you wouldn't be so upset if you got caught outside without an umbrella. The world is so beautiful when it rains. Seeing it drenched in sunlight, every detail in sharp relief, no place to hide, it could be too much. The rain makes the world feel manageable. I tilt my head back, let the raindrops peck my cheeks, taste the clean water on my lips. I've always been happiest when it was raining. And if this is my last moment on earth, then I want to be thinking about the rain when a bullet snatches my life away. Inhale, exhale. It's important to focus on the things that make you happy. The man taps me on the side of the head with the gun. I look at him, annoyed at being snapped out of my wishful thinking, and he says, "Pay attention. You are not to help the girl. Do you get me?" Athletic, white guy. No visible scars or tattoos, though I can only see his hands up to his wrist. Can't place his accent, but it doesn't help that the mask is muffling his voice. "Take that thing off and threaten me like a man," I tell him. I can't see his face, so I can't get a read off him, but he seems to freeze a little at that. He shakes his head. "Just shut up. Listen. Stay away from the fucking girl. You get mixed up in that, I'm going to put a bullet in your face. I can find you anytime, anywhere." I ask, is the mask a matter of convenience or a commentary on the nature of your personality? Am I goading him into shooting me? Maybe. The man steps forward and he smells like aftershave, antiseptic. He presses the muzzle of the gun against my forehead, indenting my skin. The metal is cold and hard and indifferent. It's stupid of him to get close. I could dive for his legs and be under the barrel before he has time to fire. He might not even get a chance to pull the trigger. My hands aren't tied. All I have to do is knock him down, and then it's a party. But I don't. Instead, I focus on the rain. It's picking up. Cool, but not too cool, and the air smells green, and there's no sound but my own ragged breath and the water striking the pavement. The asphalt is hard under my knees, and the chain-link fence surrounding us is rusty, but the clearing behind the warehouse is bordered by lush trees, their leaves heavy with water and hanging down and swaying as if to get our attention. Everything aside, it's beautiful. There's a sharp inhale of breath like a sniffle. Gravel crunches as he sets his feet. My life doesn't flash before my eyes, and for that I am thankful. A dynamite blast explodes across my face. No sound. Maybe it was too loud and it blew out my hearing. And fuck, I'm kind of annoyed because my death is by no means swift. As I fall to the pavement, I wonder when the world will go black. But the pain keeps on going, throbbing away at high volume. My cheek collides with the pavement. Not shot. The bastard pistol whipped me. My face is half submerged in a puddle, and I try to breathe in, end up with dirty water in my sinus. I choke on it, the water burning the back of my throat, and over the sound of that, a car door slams, an engine starts. Chicken Man's car peels out, blowing exhaust in my face, and then it gets real quiet.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. Really appreciate it. That was the Word Crimes Podcast, live from Bouchercon 2014. We had a great time doing it. Thanks again to everyone who came down to Harbor Room A and watched us record the podcast. A few words about the writers who took part. Seth Harwood is the author of In Broad Daylight, which features FBI agent Jess Harding in Anchorage, Alaska, hunting down a sadistic killer. Also, Jack Wakes Up, which features action movie star Jack Palms, and the incredible and incredibly underrated Young Junius. Jess Lourey is the author of the very funny Mira James Murder by Month series. That includes January Thaw and February Fever, along with the young adult series, the Toad House trilogy, which is what she read from, and the upcoming The Catalan Book of Secrets, a magical realism novel that Jess successfully funded on Kickstarter. Rob Hart is the author of the upcoming novel New Yorked, which will be published by Polis Books in June 2015. He also wrote the zombie novella The Last Safe Place, which is available now. There's much more about Seth, Jess, and Rob in the show notes for this episode on my website, erikarneson.com. That's ERIKARNESON.com. So be sure to check that out to learn more about Seth, Jess, and Rob. It's got links to their websites, their books, and a whole lot more. In fact, every episode of the Word Crimes Podcast is archived at erikarneson.com. I'm also at Erik Arneson on Twitter and easy to find on Facebook. That does it for this episode of Title 18, Word Crimes. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher. My partner in Word Crimes, Scott Detro, he'll be back very, very soon. The music on this episode is by The Throws. You can find them at The Throws, THROES, thethrows.com. And if you're not already a subscriber to Seth Harwood's Crime Wave podcast, that's CRIMEWAV, be sure to find him on iTunes as well. Thanks again for listening to Title 18 Word Crimes. We'll be back soon.